Welcome, everybody. I'm glad to see that you're enjoying the fellowship. Appreciate you guys being here. Like to welcome everybody and convene this meeting. This is our 5,053rd meeting, and it is now convened. Well, where's Alida? Alida, come join me for a second. Well, if you need a good traffic lawyer, Marshall can help you with that.
Okay. What am I doing?
Can you talk about this topic?
Oh, sure. So this coming Thursday, we have our wonderful Rotary One fundraiser at Donk House at 5:30. So we would love for everyone to please come. Bring a friend, 2, 8, with you to the event. We are accepting reservations at the door, so if you're not sure to the day of, please come out. We have some wonderful German wines that we're gonna have. We have a wonderful performance by students at the German house, the German school that are coming to perform for us, and we have some wonderful German beers that I have yet to pick out yet. And our food will be coming from Himmel's, which is right around the corner. It's a wonderful German restaurant that I went and ate at this Sunday, and they're awesome. So please come out. And secondly, our annual campaign. We now have $25,715 that we have raised for the Rotary One Foundation and $2,740 for the Rotary Foundation. What I do want to ask everyone to please make a donation to us, obviously, but also to the Rotary Foundation. To a brief understanding is all the money that we donate to the Rotary Foundation, we get a portion of that back 3 years later. So that is how we get our money for our global grants projects that they match. So the more that we give, the more that we get back. So this next year we're getting back, I believe, $5,000. Let's do that again for Laura's year when Laura is president. I would really appreciate that. And with that, I give it back to our honorable president.
Very good. And I've convinced your treasurer to also show up in Lederhosen. So for those who would like to participate in this cultural experience, there's your opportunity. With that, Sarah, if you wouldn't mind coming up, Sarah's going to help me make an introduction.
Good afternoon. I am here to introduce our speaker for today. Sandra Blakemore is currently serving as Commissioner for the City of Chicago Department of Assets, Information, and Services, a position she has held for 5 months. As Commissioner, she is responsible for the City of Chicago's fleet, facilities, energy procurement, and information technology. Prior to that, she served as Acting Commissioner, Managing Deputy Commissioner, and Deputy Commissioner for the city. Before she worked for the city, she was director in several delicious-sounding positions for ConAgra Foods, including Pasta Innovation Director, Snacks and Grocery, Director of Meal Basics, and Director for Beans and, my favorite, Manwich. She also has experience as brand or marketing manager for M&M Mars with a specific focus for Twix, as well as manager for Nabisco. Her education includes a bachelor's with honors from Harvard in political science and government, as well as an MBA from the University of Maryland in marketing. Between Harvard and the University of Maryland, she was a Rotary Fellow in Queensland, Australia, where she received a graduate diploma in anthropology from James Cook University. And so with that, I turn the microphone over to our speaker for today.
And real quick before we do that, hold your question. No, stay with me. Please stay. Questions at the end. Be respectful of her time. Succinct. All right? The show is yours. Do we have a clicker?
Shelby will run it.
Oh, Shelby. Okay. Very good.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Again, I'm Sandra Blakemore. I'm the Commissioner for the Department of Assets, Information, and Services at the City of Chicago. And when Eric first approached me a couple of months ago about doing a speaking engagement, I was like, well, you know, Eric, we're kind of busy at the city. There is an election going on. But for Rotary, I would do anything because when I was a Rotary Ambassadorial Scholar in 1991 at James Cook University, it really was a broadening experience for me. And I did make lifelong friends. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see I'm there in the flower jacket, but this is the picture of everyone who lived at the Rotary International House at James Cook University, and it was newly built that year, so it was really special for us to be the first class in that house. And I made lifelong friendships, and this was before there was texting or Facebook. We actually wrote letters back and forth between the US and Australia, and three of my closest girlfriends, they actually all came to Chicago for my wedding. So really, really good friends. So I really appreciate and thank you. And just wanted to share this with you so that you can see the impact of the work that you do at Rotary. As we move to the next slide, just wanted to give you an overview of our department. This is, we have a $500 million budget, a little over 1,000 employees in the Department of Assets, Information, and Services. And I really like to think of our department as the backbone to other city departments. We provide the equipment and services and assets that enable other departments to do their jobs. We do everything from procuring vehicles, repairing vehicles. We do all the maintenance and the security for all the city buildings. I buy all of the energy for the city, the natural gas, electricity, and fuel. We provide all the city printing and graphic services. We provide the real estate and right of entry services for city property. So really a broad range of services for citizens in city departments. And in addition, we have the IT Bureau, which provides all the city infrastructure for IT, software, hardware, and enterprise applications. If we can move to the next slide. As I said, you know, we do a broad range of services at the department, but I wanted to first share with you what our 5 must-dos are for this year. First, we're moving more into clean energy at the city, and we have a goal of electrifying 25% of our light-duty fleet, and I'll go into this in more detail in a couple of minutes. Second, for Millennium Park, this is a new facility for us to manage, and we're looking at ways to make the park more safe and secure. We want you all to have a great time in Millennium Park, but I also am responsible for the safety and want to have a secure perimeter for the park. In capital improvements, we have embarked on a 5-year capital plan, and one of our focus areas for 2023 is improvements for our police facilities. We want to ensure that our officers are safe and have well-functioning facilities so that they can do their jobs. Our fourth area is information technology. As you can imagine, the city has many applications and systems. A lot of these information systems are aging. So we're in the process right now of putting together an enterprise-wide software that would change the way we do our finance, procurement, and human resources. So I'm actually in the middle of procurement right now for those services. And then lastly, you may have seen in the news a few months ago, we opened the new Joint Public Safety Training Academy out on West Chicago, and we're going to be adding to that campus. And this is a training facility for both our police officers and firefighters, so they have state-of-the-art training. And I'll go into that in more detail in a few slides. In my department, the Fleet Bureau is the largest. It has a budget of $126 million. And again, we procure and repair all city vehicles, and we also provide some services to our sister agencies as well. But we take care of everything from our electric vehicles to pool vehicles to large fire trucks. So again, this is a critical function for our department. We opened up our main garage a couple of years ago in the Inglewood community, and we oversee 13,000 pieces of owned and leased vehicles. And actually, if you could go back a slide, just wanted to make sure we also touch on the fact that we have 12 city-owned garages in which we repair both light-duty and heavy-duty vehicles, as well as we have 12 city fuel sites for city-owned vehicles, so that we procure the fuel and we provide the fueling at these special city sites. And this department is critical. This bureau is critical during snow season. So I, for one, was really happy we had a warm winter, because otherwise we work around the clock to ensure that the salt spreaders are going so that everyone can continue to move around the city. So these folks in the Fleet Bureau work very hard to ensure that the city maintains its mobility during snow season with roadside service and repairing our snow plows and salt spreaders. A big initiative we have for the fleet is to move towards electrifying more of our fleet pool. And we're starting with our light-duty trucks. We had great success with hybrid vehicles. If you look out, you probably have seen those white SUVs that CPD drives. Those are hybrids, and they're 60% more fuel efficient than a regular vehicle. So we're adopting the philosophy of measure, learn, and change with electric vehicles, because the technology and the companies are changing so rapidly that we want to make sure that we're making smart investments as we get into this new territory. So starting with light-duty vehicles, we are in the process of changing over 25% of our fleet this year. And then we'll do additional testing on medium and heavy-duty vehicles. Okay, then we'll go to the next slide. The other big pillar in our department is our facility operations. That budget is $120 million, and this is where our trades groups locate, and they provide all of the custodial, the security, and they do all the repairs and maintenance for our city buildings. And in my department, we have over 22 unions that we have relationships with and that represent our city employees. But for our city buildings, we have 451 owned buildings, and the average age is 56 years. So you can imagine there's a lot of work to do on a continuous basis in keeping the maintenance for these buildings. But our big achievement over the past year for facility operations is that by January of 2025, all city buildings will be, all our electricity will be moved over to a source of renewable energy. We have a contract with Constellation Energy, and there's a solar farm being built in Sangamon County that the city will source its energy from. So again, we're making efforts to move into cleaner, more efficiency energy types. Okay. And we can move to the next slide. And I really wanted to talk about the Joint Public Safety Training Campus. This campus opened in November of 2022 after construction of several years, and our department led the construction for this campus. The purpose is to provide our city police officers and firefighters with state-of-the-art training facilities, because training is so important for them to be able to do their jobs well. So we were very pleased with opening this new campus. It's located in the West Humboldt Park neighborhood, and we really wanted to make the campus an integral part of the neighborhood and have a good relationship with the people who live in the community. We've opened the first phase that has the training buildings. And then the second phase, we are adding on an outdoor scenario village. So both police and fire can perform different simulations in their training. There will be a boys and girls club on site. So for the children in the neighborhood can actually learn about these careers, and we thought it was a wonderful addition to have that integrated into the campus. We'll also have 2 restaurants on site, so both city employees and members of the public can eat in these restaurants together. Again, it's about, making, one community, so you have the public safety first responders and the community sharing experiences together. There'll also be a community room for use by any group in the area who if you need a space for your Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts group, we have it there for the community as well. Okay. And another fun area that our department does is the Chicago Riverwalk. We've been involved with the Riverwalk for almost 10 years now, and really seen it grow from really not a whole lot going down to really being a second waterfront for, people in Chicago. I don't know if many of you have gone down there, but I encourage you, check it out. It's a great place to go for lunch in the summer or to have a drink after work when the weather's warmer. And it's been very popular. Last year, we rebounded successfully from the pandemic with $24 million in revenue from the Riverwalk. And another portion of it that we really are proud of is the creation of the community marketplace. You see a lot of big name vendors at the Riverwalk like City Winery, but we sectioned off a portion of the space for emerging businesses. So small businesses who we've had, that sell fashion, food, so that they can have an opportunity to represent their neighborhoods to tourists who are coming down to the Riverwalk. And I'm pleased to announce that 3 of these businesses have graduated from the emerging business section and now will have a larger presence on the Riverwalk. So I think there's going to be a lot of excitement this summer. So you'll get everything from chai lattes to Chicago branded fashion to Mexican textiles. And the woman that, the family that owns the Colores Mexicanos, they started out 3 years ago at their kitchen table selling textiles from Mexico. They came on the Riverwalk, had a successful few years, and they actually have opened up a small boutique as well on Michigan Avenue. So that's that's really the success stories that we like to share and see how the city can help emerging businesses grow. Okay. And just a recent acquisition in our portfolio is the Millennium Park. Our department took over the property management for Millennium Park in January of last year. So the Department of Cultural Affairs, they do the programming in the park with the music venues and other activities in the park. What our department does, we provide the custodial care, the capital planning for the infrastructure, as well as the security for Millennium Park. And one of our big opportunities this year is to, as we get ready for the 20th year anniversary of Millennium Park next year, is to have a complete capital plan of what we need to address in terms of maintenance, as well as I talked about earlier, providing security. And it's a careful balance. It's a park. We want people to feel comfortable and invited into a park, but we also want to assure that everyone has a secure and safe time in the park. Okay, so those are that's really the look inside our department. So I will turn it over for any questions. Okay, I think it. Oh, he's gonna.
Sandra, I just want to say thank you for what you do. Every time I think of the challenges facing our city, I think of you, and I feel better.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you.
Question, Ms. Blakemore, I'm sorry. Blakemore, I was gonna. No, am I on? Okay. I was gonna ask you a question about NASCAR.
Yes.
Give us an idea of what's gonna happen to downtown when NASCAR is gonna be here. So
I can't, the Department of Cultural Affairs, manages that program, so I can't really speak on the details of what will happen with NASCAR, because that's another department.
Although, that is exactly what we all want to know, right? Who managed Millennium Park before you? Why did it change?
The Department of Cultural Affairs also managed the property of Millennium Park, but given that my department, Assets, Information, and Services, is ordinance to manage all facilities, we felt that we had, a better skill set for managing the property, and then Department of Cultural Affairs could really focus on what they're excelling at, and that's the programming.
So in other areas, my expertise is transportation. When I look at transportation assets, the city of Chicago tends to sort of be behind other cities of comparable size around the country in terms of sort of how modern our assets are, the condition of the assets, et cetera, et cetera. I could go on for a long time on that, but I'm curious for the stuff that you manage, and I know it's kind of all over the board, so it might be hard to answer this, but how do we benchmark against other cities? Do we have fewer assets, smaller fleets, older assets? Kind of where do we fit in compared to other cities?
I think we were probably about average, and we were getting better because we have gotten, funds to recently to have our fleet upgraded, because, it is very expensive to, a fire engine is $1 million, an ambulance is $200,000, police vehicles are $50,000. So, every time I watch the news, I'm counting up the money when I see, things on the news, because, we work hard to get the budget for what we have. And so that's why we're excited. Over the past 2 years, we've gotten more money for our fleet, which is a good start. We're making up for years in which it wasn't funded well. So now, we're able to point it into the right direction. And I think with the electric vehicles, even getting ahead of other cities with that response. We were one of the first cities to test an electric garbage truck 10 years ago. But again, with those heavy duty vehicles, they need more time to perform the way a city would need them to perform.
What do you do with the old vehicles as you all transition out? Like, do you sell them, or, can someone go to a website and see, are those vehicles for sale, or what?
There are sales, and we do also donations. We've donated several ambulances to other countries who are maybe in need.
Here's a taker. We partner with clubs around the world, Latin America. Next time you don't know what to do, we'll take one or two.
But Mexico has been a big taker for some of our ambulances as well, because they're still functioning, but they are, past a certain age. So, and a lot of times, working through, the aldermen will come to us with requests for these nonprofits in other countries.
Same question, but with your computer equipment. What do you do when you retire that?
A lot of that may be, we hang on to it to the very end, given, trying to make the most of what we have. But, it's a lot of times it's just, way out of life. So it may not be even worth a donation.
So another question on equipment, and you might have answered this, so feel free to
sure.
look again. But I know that equipment, it depreciates over time. How do you reconcile with things losing value with needing to replace it? Like, is there a system set in place?
Well, we have a fleet group that looks at, they're in charge of all the capital management for the fleet. And again, it really comes down to what we have in the budget versus what our need is, because we may have to hang on to things a little longer because we need to have them active in the fleet. Yeah.
Any other questions here in the room? Otherwise, Shelby, can you help me with the questions online? Are there any questions online? Or otherwise, the folks online, speak up, please.
Looks like we don't have any questions online at the moment.
All right. Well, thank you for your echo here. Thank you so much for being here. That is so fantastic. Really appreciate it. Because your job is demanding, it requires the consumption of gallons of coffee. We'd like to facilitate that, and every time they use the mug, you see us. We have plenty of members of the Union League Club who are members here. We'd love to welcome you as a member as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It was wonderful. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you.
Marshall, can you join me for a second, please? So, Marshall, I wanted to give you a quick update.
An update on the management of the club. A decision has been made to end the CAM contract. We invoked the 60-day termination clause, and we're in the process of finding a replacement. If anyone has any questions about the decision, please talk to me or Timo or Alita. We'll be happy to share with you what's going on.
Just as this morning we formed a task force to accelerate that decision process. So the wheels are spinning, everything is following the orderly process, right?
Yeah.
That's what we got.
So, yep. Thank you very much. Yep.
Appreciate it. All right, in moving right along to the introduction of guests. Who do we have here in terms of visiting international Rotarians? Can you just say your name, where you're from?
Hello, everybody. That's Adela Schutti. That's my mom. Marietta Dervisha. We are from Albania and Italy. She's going to be the president next year in Albania. And she came to visit me. I'm studying here. Not here in Milwaukee, architecture. And she came to visit me for 2 weeks.
Great, welcome. Super.
They are going to be coming on Thursday for the German event.
That is awesome.
Yes.
Thank you. That's fantastic. Any other visiting international Rotarians here? I don't think so. I know everybody, so I think. Any visiting U.S. Rotarians? Other guests? All right. Oh, yes, Eric.
Well, I guess I will let folks introduce themselves, but first from the board of the Union League Club, Union McGann, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thanks very much. I'm a huge fan of Sandra Blakemore, so this was a no-brainer. And I used to be involved with Rotary a year or so ago, and Eric keeps pushing this one. So
Rightfully so, Virginia, rightfully so.
It looks like I'm in great company, so I look forward to learning more about this group and joining. I have a firm, Value Management Resources. We are a back office outsourcing option for small professional services firms. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Lauren here, and this is Lauren Williams with PCs for People. I'll let him introduce himself.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks for having me today. Lauren Williams with nonprofit PCs for People. We repurpose retired computers for distribution to low-income families, and myself and our CEO will be presenting here for lunch on, I think it's May 9th. Thank you. So my question was a little bit loaded.
That's fine. Do I miss anybody here in the room? Oh, yeah, my friend Rich, absolutely.
Rich Beam. I'm secretary of the club, this club, the Union League Club that we're meeting in. We really appreciate, on behalf of the club, we really appreciate Rotary's involvement here and use of this clubhouse. Thank you for your leadership. I've had the privilege of serving with Sandra Blakemore and others on the board for these last 3 years, and I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, how about me? What the hell?
You're included in the others.
Very good. All right. Moving online, I see my friend Clinton up there. Clinton, I'll see you on the train tonight. Who else is online and wants to say hi? Adi, you're muted.
I'm good. Hello. Up here sharing information with you.
Welcome again. All right,
Thank
moving
you.
up to our announcements. At this point, if Alida could come up here, Wes, I've got a moment for you, and then Sarah as well. You can all join at the same time.
Of course, job one. Hello, everyone, again. As we talk about our wonderful Job One program, where we facilitate Chicago high school juniors and seniors with summer internships, we will be closing our applications this Wednesday, tomorrow, yay, where we have 60 or so wonderful students that we now get to go through their applications. So if anyone would like to help us with that process, please come out and let me know. And then we also are looking for wonderful employers to hire our students. Clint Krisloff, who's online, and many other people here have had the pleasure of having our students, and we would like for you all to have that too. They're great, wonderful students, and they're looking for mentorship and career readiness. Thank you.
Wes.
Well, this is a brief but wonderful moment for me to remind those of you who are participating in the dictionary project to get moving with this. We have lots of time now, but the time will fly. So pick up your dictionaries, go out to the schools. It's one of the most enjoyable things that we do, and I can only commend it to those who haven't done this before. Thank you.
Sir? Sarah.
It's about the CPS grants, right? It's about the CPS grants, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So this was a surprise that I'm up here again. So I just want to remind everyone that currently we are accepting proposals for our CPS grants. So that information has gone out to many, many places, including social media ads. The ad that Rotary put up was shared 82 times, which I think is pretty good. And who knows how much more it went from those 82 as well. So those proposals are being accepted until the end of March. And then in April, our little committee will meet and decide. And so probably at one of the May meetings, we'll share with you the recipients of our CPS grants. And I just want to give a little shout out also. We have a community service event coming up in April. It just got settled on April 17th, I believe. It'll be in the next Gyrator. We are working with Snow City Arts, which is a group that provides art therapy for children in hospitals in Chicago. So we will be packing art kits that will be provided for an art party for the youth as part of their program. So more details on that to come, and it'll be in the Gyrator next week.
Thank you. It's actually very cool. Our former Rotarian friend, Peter Schmidt, used to serve on that board before he moved to New Mexico. What they do is when kids are in a hospital and pretty lonely, they will send in an artist and they paint stuff. I actually have some of that stuff in my office, but it's really cool. So it's an organization definitely worth supporting. All right. We've got the Gyrator with all the upcoming committee meetings, so check that out. Oh, yep, Marga. Yeah, come on up here. I'll hijack you then after this for the four-way test since you volunteered yourself.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm Marga Hugo, and I would like to let you know we haven't published it yet in the Gyrator, but on April 8th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., it is a Saturday, we're going to have our second high meeting with Rotarians from Serbia. We're expecting hundreds of them to be downtown like it happened when, Eric, you were president. This year, we're going to meet at Rotary International headquarters in Evanston, and they are in our Serbian members, Danilo and also Milos from Belgrade. They're inviting many members of the Serbian community here in Chicago. So there are going to be in-person guests and online guests. And for those of you who have not visited the Rotary International headquarters, this is a perfect opportunity. There's going to be a tour of the building as well as conversation. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. No, don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Somebody's going to do the four-way test.
Okay.
Will you please stand?
All right, the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Number 1, is it the truth? Number 2, is it fair to all concerned? Number 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Number 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And 5, we shall have fun. Thank you, everybody. Meeting is adjourned.